All right, welcome to the deep dive. We're all about taking those topics you're curious about and, really digging in to find the good stuff. And today we're diving into something pretty interesting. It's actually a specific video from a Vietnamese dating show called Ban Mun Han Ho.
Yeah. Episode #Toe97A. The title, if you translate, it's kind of funny. It's basically saying matchmaker's brains tangled by the girl's love life.
Bạn nam đó là bạn của bạn trai của bạn thân em, cho nên là cái cặp đôi đó xảy ra xích mích, cái xong rồi ảnh hưởng tới tụi em. Là hai người có hai bạn nó lại nè, nó lại cái sự vô sinh đây. Bạn gì? Yeah, bạn của bạn trai.
Yeah, and I can totally see why you flagged this one. I mean, it seems like a really good way to get a glimpse into Vietnamese dating culture, right?
Exactly. And that's our mission here. We're going to watch Nguyen Thu Luc and Nguyen Thi Dan on meet for the first time and try to figure out, what's going on, what are their backgrounds, what are they looking for, and what does this whole matchmaking process tell us about Vietnamese culture?
Sounds like a plan. Let's start with getting to know our potential couple here. So first up, we've got Nguyen Thu Luc.
Right, so he's born in 1990, comes from Lemang.
Okay.
And he's a bag and backpack designer. Yeah. He's got his own manufacturing facility down in Ho Chi Minh City, and he's working with clients overseas, so that's pretty cool.
Wow, that's impressive. I mean, that says a lot right there.
Yeah, definitely ambitious. And it's interesting, when he's introducing himself, he really highlights his personal qualities. He's like, I'm gentle, honest, hardworking, straightforward, truthful, and ambitious.
Yeah. It seems like there's a real emphasis on those kind of foundational values, more so than maybe, saying like, hey, I'm rich, or I have a fancy car.
Right. That like character and diligence. Those are the things that really matter in this context.
Makes sense.
And he was also pretty upfront about some things, that maybe some people would try to hide. Like, he admitted that he sometimes neglects his personal well-being because of work stress.
Oh, wow.
And he mentioned that he smokes.
I mean, it's good that he's being honest, right?
Absolutely. Transparency is always a good thing. So what about his past relationships? He mentioned one right.
Yeah, he did. It sounds like it was a pretty short relationship, just a few months after the pandemic, with someone from his hometown. They were about the same age, but it ended because, well, she wasn't exactly honest with him.
Yeah, she had another boyfriend. And he specifically used the words stubborn and dishonest to describe her.
Có một sự nói dối với con.
Nói dối rồi không được.
Tại vì trước khi con thể hiện cái tình cảm thì con có hỏi trước là bạn đã có bạn trai chưa? Con hỏi thẳng vấn đề đó trước khi vấn đề là nếu như mà chưa có thì con mới tìm hiểu.
So, yeah, you can definitely see why honesty is a huge priority for him.
Makes sense.
And you can see that reflected in what he's looking for in a partner, too. He wants someone who is gentle, honest, family-oriented, filial, meaning respectful to their parents, and, someone with some career ambitions as well.
Yeah. So someone who shares his values, both personally and in terms of family, that's really important to him.
Okay, so we've got a good sense of Lika. Let's move on to Nguyen Thi Dan.
Okay, so Dan An. She was born in 1991, lives and works in Long An.
And that's her hometown too, right?
Yeah, same place. She works in an office.
Cool.
And she described herself as caring and good at sharing. So, seems like a warm, giving person. But she also mentioned something, well, let's just say memorable.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Her cooking skills. Or, I guess, lack thereof.
Oh, no.
She actually said that nobody at home will eat her cooking, and she has to, beg them to try it.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty brave to admit on a dating show. I guess she's got a good sense of humor about it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
She even joked, that she's a little short-tempered if people don't like her cooking, although she did quickly say she'd plead, not get angry.
So she can laugh at herself, which is a good sign.
Definitely. But her past relationships, those sound, well, a little more complicated.
Oh.
She mentioned that her previous relationships have only lasted 3 or 4 months. And one of them ended because of, well, it's a bit of a confusing story. It involved her best friend, her best friend's boyfriend, and that boyfriend's friend.
Wait, so she was dating the friend of her best friend's boyfriend?
Yeah, something like that. And even the hosts on the show had a hard time following the story.
I bet. It sounds pretty tangled.
Ảnh hưởng tới tụi em.
Bạn
hai người có hai
không,
quan
nói
điểm.
lại nè, nói lại cái slow motion coi. Bạn gì?
Dạ,
bạn của bạn trai.
Dạ, bạn thân của em là quen với lại có bạn trai thì cái bạn đó là bạn của bạn trai.
Thôi khỏi kể luôn đi, không có hiểu
là
luôn.
anh A, anh B, anh binh anh A. Mà anh không có chịu binh cái cô bạn.
Thôi không
Nè,
hiểu, khỏi
nè, để gì?
khỏi kể luôn đi.
Chào anh.
Tôi
Chào
trong
xíu
người
nè.
ngoài cuộc tôi nghe tôi còn mệt nữa.
Hiểu chưa?
Hiểu chưa?
Hiểu chưa?
Dạ cũng hơi rối ạ.
Tôi đã ví dụ quá trời luôn rồi.
You know, that kind of past experience, it might make someone a little hesitant to jump into a new relationship.
Yeah, you'd think so. It's interesting, though, what she said she's looking for in a partner. She wants someone who knows how to care for the family and share responsibilities.
Right, and open communication, that was really important to her.
Makes sense, especially after those past relationships.
Yeah, definitely.
And physically, she just wants someone around her height, which is 1 meter, 65 centimeters.
Or taller?
Oh, and we can't forget about the matchmakers.
Right, Chukwinin and Kothinioklan.
They're definitely invested in this whole process. You can see how excited they get when a couple hits it off, and, you know, a little disappointed if they don't.
Yeah, they're really rooting for these couples to find love. They do a good job of, you know, guiding the conversation and making everyone feel comfortable.
And remember that part when Dan Ann was trying to explain her past relationship?
Oh, yeah. The male host was so confused. He was like, wait, who was dating who?
I know, it was hilarious. But it just goes to show, you know, sometimes our relationship histories are complicated and hard to explain.
It's interesting to think about how those past experiences, even the messy ones, shape what we look for in the future.
So before they actually meet, there's one more thing I noticed. Luke brought his sister-in-law with him.
Oh, yeah, I do.
And she was so sweet, talking about how kind he is. But she also mentioned that he was a little thin.
And she kind of jokingly hoped that Dan Ann could fatten him up.
It was cute. And Dan Ann, she came to the show alone.
Now, that whole family involvement thing, that's a pretty significant cultural difference.
Yeah.
You know, in Vietnamese culture, family input is a really big deal.
Makes sense. Like, getting the family's approval early on is important.
Yeah, it can be a deal breaker sometimes.
Yeah.
So the fact that Luke brought his sister-in-law, you know, that shows how much he values her opinion. And Dan Ann coming alone, well, that could mean a lot of things. Maybe her family is less involved, or maybe she just wanted to handle this on her own.
Yeah, there could be all sorts of reasons. So moving on, they do the whole gift exchange thing, which is pretty standard on these shows.
Right. And Luke, being a bag designer, gave Dan Ann a handbag.
I love that. It's so fitting, and she seemed to really like it.
Yeah, it was a thoughtful gift, and it also kind of subtly showcased his skills, you know, like, hey, this is what I do. I make beautiful things.
Totally. So then they start talking, and they get into some pretty important stuff.
Right. They talked about where they lived, which is practical. You got to think about logistics in a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have a relationship if you live, like, hours apart.
Well, it makes it difficult.
So she lives in Akoa, and he lives near Binshan.
Yeah, and then they talked about their work. And importantly, they discussed their expectations for, you know, responsibilities in a relationship.
Which is huge. You got to be on the same page about that stuff.
Absolutely. And Luke was very clear that he's willing to share household chores.
It's always a good sign.
Right. And Dan Ann, while she was upfront about her less than stellar cooking skills, she emphasized that she enjoys taking care of people.
Oh, and that open communication is really important to her.
Yeah, so she's definitely thinking about what makes a relationship work.
It's give and take, you know?
Totally. But then they had this really sweet moment where they sang a duet together.
Ah, I love that.
A Vietnamese love song called Ten Muong Tina Co.
What does that mean?
It translates to something like accidental love on the canal path.
Ah, that's so romantic.
It was a really nice way for them to, you know, connect on a different level and see if their personalities meshed, you know, outside of just answering questions.
Yeah, it's more spontaneous. You can really see their chemistry or lack of chemistry in those moments.
Exactly. So they had to make their decision. And the way they did it was kind of cute.
Oh, yeah. How do they do it?
They both closed their eyes, you know, like they were really trying to feel their heartbeats or something.
Ah, it's like they were trying to tune out all the noise and just focus on their intuition.
Yeah, it adds a bit of romance to the whole thing. It's not just a logical decision, you know?
Right. It's about feelings, too. So what happened? Did they both press the button?
1 2 3.
Hết thời gian. Rồi, chính thức chúng ta đã hẹn hò với nhau. Nắm tay nhau đi nào. Và một nụ hôn.
They did. It was a match.
Oh, I love it when it works out like that.
It's always nice to see people connect, even in this kind of artificial setting.
Totally. And they held hands and even gave each other a little kiss on the cheek. So sweet.
A good start. So, being the new couple, they got a bunch of gifts, which is awesome.
Oh, I love the gifts. What did they get?
They got some fukwok fish sauce,
Nice.
some Lululemon Japanese skincare products,
Ooh, fancy.
and some specialty foods from a company called Tan Mien.
What kind of food?
Bontrang, which is rice paper, and salmon gok ling tea, which is a type of ginseng tea.
Oh, wow. That sounds delicious.
And to top it all off, they got a discount voucher for a dating skills course.
Huh. That's amazing. I love that they give them that. Just a little extra help.
Yeah, it's like the show is really invested in their success, which is nice.
And then, to wrap it all up, the hosts gave them their well wishes. And they used this really beautiful analogy. They compared their new relationship to a plant that needs care and attention to grow.
Oh, that's so sweet. And it's so true. Relationships take effort.
Yeah, you got to nurture them. Okay, so we've reached the end of our deep dive into this episode of Ban Mun Han Ho. What do you think our listeners should take away from this?
Well, I think it really highlights the importance of those core values that we talked about. Kindness, honesty, family.
Right. Those are the things that both Luke and Dan Ann were really looking for.
Exactly. But we also saw them being honest about their flaws,
Yeah, like Luke with his work stress and Dan Ann with her cooking. And they were open about their past relationship baggage, too.
It makes them relatable, Like, they're not perfect, but they're looking for love just like everyone else.
I think that's something we can all relate to.
Absolutely. And we also saw some interesting cultural elements at play.
Yeah, like the whole family involvement thing.
Right. And the way they talked about practicalities, like location and shared responsibilities, that was pretty interesting.
It gives you a different perspective on dating in another culture.
Right. And I think despite all the cultural differences, there's something universal about the desire for connection.
Absolutely. The awkwardness, the hope, the search for common ground, we've all been there.
Totally. So I guess the question for our listeners is, how do your own cultural norms and your own personal experiences shape your approach to dating?
Yeah, that's a good one. What are the things that are most important to you in a partner? And how do you go about finding that person?
It's something to think about. And maybe, after watching this episode, you might even try something new.
Exactly. You never know where you'll find love. All right, that's it for this week's Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.